What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mr. Zero to Infinity for episode 48. GAN stock has been on my research board since the IPO back in May. If you've been following along my episode series and portfolio updates since the start of the year, you know I'm a part owner of Penn National Gaming stock, and I always follow up on news announcements surrounding my 7 holdings in the portfolio on your screen. Well, gambling software supplier GAN recently announced signing up Penn National Gaming as its newest simulated gaming client. In this episode, I'll be discussing, is it time to buy GAN stock? Will I be adding GAN to my portfolio? To end, I'll do a quick stock portfolio update as I always do in each episode, since the stock market constantly moves up, down, and sideways each and every week. Before I get into my GAN stock analysis, always remember I'm not a financial advisor. This episode is not intended as investment advice. This is not a recommendation to buy or sell securities, so do your own research prior to making any investments. Remember, all opinions in this episode are mine and mine alone, and this video is for entertainment purposes only. I'm just sharing a small part of my personal research. So let's begin. GAN recently reported earnings, and I listened to the hour-long earnings call, which had a ton of information. The CEO, Dermot Smurfit, even referenced the GAN rocket ship during the questions and answers segment. If you're looking to fly your stock portfolio rocket ship to the moon, then click that like button and subscribe. It helps grow this channel to infinity. So let's pull up a blank screen and discuss a few of my notes on GAN stock. Remember, I'm a long-term investor, and I don't just buy stock symbols on a screen. There's a company behind every stock ticker, and I like to fully research companies, management teams, and financials, along with anything else I could find online and offline for any stocks that I buy or plan to buy. First up, GAN stock. GAN originally was an acronym for Game Account Network. GAN explains it's the market leader for online gambling software as a service, and it works with land-based casinos in the US and around the world. It's a very interesting company because I know there's a shift going on right now of retail stores making the switch to adding online business models due to recent closures and shutdowns. I'm a strong believer that if you don't have any exposure to any online revenue streams or business models, you will be left behind and may even go bankrupt if you don't have a strong balance sheet and financials. Dermot Smurfit has been CEO, and he has a cool British accent if you're like me and watched all the videos found online with him covering GAN stock. Dermot has a background as a qualified UK attorney, and he has experience in European investment banking. Karen Flores is the CFO, and she joined the GAN team earlier in the year. Prior to joining GAN, she was Senior Vice President of Finance at Maker Studios, Inc., which was sold to the Walt Disney Company back in 2014. Maker Studios was the production company that was co-founded by Shay Carl, who had a popular YouTube channel called the Shaytards. I personally think researching key management teams and their experience is very important when building a bull thesis in any stock long term. During the earnings call, Dermot highlighted that the bulk of the revenues came from the United States at 81%, followed by Italy and then the UK and Channel Islands. You all know I invested in Penn National Gaming primarily for the growth potential in online sports gambling, along with being a part owner of the Barstool Sports Media brand. Sports gambling is heavily regulated, so GAN's investor presentation highlighted New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Indiana as 3 key states on its timeline. 2020 Q1 revenues came in around $7.6 million, which is the top line, with net income around $500,000, which is the bottom line. The rest of the financials are on the investor relations page, so feel free to look up all of the key financial numbers yourself. When I review earnings reports, I focus on the revenues, gross margins, net income, total assets, cash position, total liabilities, and future revenue guidance, to name a few key metrics. I also like to review any trends with revenue growth and subscriber growth as well. The numbers are always a crucial element to review past history to formulate a bull thesis for future growth long term. CEO Dermot highlighted the fact that GAN is debt-free at the time of the conference call. That's always a good thing to see for any IPO looking to expand and grow for future years. So as mentioned, Penn National Gaming was added as a client. I discussed this point in previous episodes that if Penn National Gaming signed up with GAN, then I'd have further interest in GAN stock as a potential investment. Penn, also known as Penn stock, is a big name in my opinion. I'll definitely be following GAN's future announcements with any new clients over the next couple of quarters. I think the addition of major players in the casino business will add to the stock price volatility as time goes by. Outside of adding additional clients, as more and more states approve sports gambling, I think GAN, along with stocks like Penn stock, DraftKings stock, MGM stock, and Flutter Entertainment stock, which acquired FanDuel, have an opportunity to grow as time goes by. There are many headlines saying Flutter Entertainment is an online gambling monster with key gambling brands including Paddy Power, Betfair, Sportsbet, TVG, and now FanDuel, to name a few. El Dorado Resorts ERI stock is also a name to watch out for. There are a ton of big names trying to gain market share in the online gambling industry. Since GAN is a leading business-to-business supplier of internet gambling software as a service for the casino industry, it will be interesting to see how many of these companies will be added to GAN's client list, especially since they have a patent for the software that they provide. In my opinion, old school casinos specialize in old school ways of running a business. I think we're in a blip of time where if these brick and mortar casinos don't innovate and keep up with the latest and greatest technologies, future revenue streams will be lost to competition. GAN is a very promising stock in the online gambling industry, and I personally think there's a ton of growth potential if they continue to gain more and more major clients and if more and more states legalize sports gambling. CEO Dermot is the commander at the helm, and the real question is, will he be able to deliver exceptional results over the next few quarters and years? During the question and answer segment, he mentioned bandwidth capabilities will need to be increased with the rapid growth that's going on. The list of engineer specialists in Las Vegas continues to grow. He also said a percentage of the cash raised from the IPO will go towards increasing the sales team to handle the demand for casinos looking to go online with the simulated gaming and real money gaming segments. To wrap up, will I be buying and adding GAN stock to my portfolio at this time? I personally feel the market cap at today's levels is a bit too high for my liking. Looking at my stock portfolio, I already have exposure to the gambling and casino industry with my Penn stock holding, which has a brand element in Barstool Sports. When it comes to GAN stock, I personally feel there's a lot of future growth already being bought at today's levels. The stock is still building chart history as the weeks move forward, so I'll be monitoring the technicals. I'm not a day trader, so when I start building positions in stocks, I plan on holding for a long time as a part owner compared to looking for a quick gain. At the end of the day, there's a lot of work to be done outside of signing up more and more clients to the software. Higher costs are associated with growing a company out, so I'm interested to see how the management team decides to spend the capital that was raised from the IPO. I still need to research a few more things on GAN stock at this time, but I wouldn't be surprised to see GAN in my stock portfolio to go along with my Penn stock. Since I'm in no rush, I'll be following the technicals closely, especially since I know there will be a lot of short-term traders in and out of the stock. So that's where I'm at. You tell me, are you bullish or bearish on GAN stock? Are you trading GAN or are you buying shares long term? I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comments below. As always, let's do a quick stock portfolio update. If you're new, I've been growing one of my stock portfolios here on YouTube since the start of 2020. I have yet to sell any stocks at this time. If you like these stock portfolio updates, then click that like button. It really helps and supports this channel. The portfolio is a little over $7,200 at this time. I took the screenshot. My stocks include Fiverr, Apple, Penn National Gaming, Starbucks, Costco, Square, and Shift4 Payments. As you can see, my Fiverr and Apple stock holdings have been going up. I'll definitely be following my Square stock closely. That 100 to 105 price range is a big support level to break through to higher highs. At this time, I plan to keep adding cash to the stock portfolio as we continue with the episode series, which is meant to be watched in order from episode 1 up to the episode that I'm up to in the future. At this time, the stock market continues to go up as we head into the middle of the year. I do feel that the overall stock market is due for a correction, so I'll be ready when a 5% to 10% plus sell-off comes. As a long-term investor, I am perfectly okay with seeing the stock price of any of my holdings fall in value since all my positions are still very small. The stock portfolio is still under $10,000 at this time, so the cheaper the shares of stock I could get, the better when we look back 5 to 10 years from the future. Make sure to look out for my future episodes, which will summarize many reasons why I bought my holdings since the start of 2020. You could always listen to my older episodes, which includes a lot of my reasoning behind why I bought my stocks and my bull thesis at the time. I'll have to break down Costco and Shift4 Payments, so luckily there's plenty of episodes in the pipeline. Let's end it there for this episode. Play the music. Maybe I didn't earn your subscription with this episode, but there's always next episode. It's free to subscribe, and a couple of my favorite comments from last episode are on your screen. Feel free to watch my earlier episodes. For anyone new, all my episodes are meant to be watched in order since the stock market is always changing and there are always new trends to be found as the weeks tick forward. Instagram is Mr. Zero to Infinity. Thanks again for watching. Let's keep building from zero to infinity. You got this. As always, this episode is not intended as investment advice. Do your own research prior to making any investments and do your own fact checking. Read the disclaimer on your screen fully. Remember, all opinions in this episode are mine and mine alone. I'm not a financial advisor, and this video is for entertainment purposes only. Never rely on any of my information when making investment decisions. Peace.